Hello everyone, and welcome to the wonderful gardens of Wolfson College. I'm Tim Hitchens, I'm the president of the college. Michael Godfrey here is our new head chef.
Afternoon.
And we're planning to have a conversation for a few minutes about the way in which policy on food and the way you run your kitchens, Michael, fit with your view of the world, the sustainability of the planet, the bigger picture. But you've arrived here relatively recently. So just give a little bit of a sketch of what you have done before arriving here.
So I'm 51 now, if I can say that. But I've been cooking since I was 16. Formal apprenticeship, classical French, then kind of moving into business and industry, hotel, restaurant. Then when I was about 30 years of age, I went into Eton College as the exec chef. I was there for 13, 14 years. And then went from Eton to the Middle East to do the mobilization for NYU on Saadiyat Island. And then back and did some time at Brunel, and here I am at Wolfson.
So you've got a wealth of experience in different kinds of places. Though I suppose the common theme seems to be places where education is part of what the mission of the place is.
Yes. I think there's something lovely about an academic environment that you have stakeholders, community coming in permanently. And you're always looking for something else to keep it interesting and not looking at menu fatigue or things that would... It's not like we're having the same menu for 6 months. We're trying to sort of keep it interesting and keep it dynamic and keep it engaging. Feedback is a gift. I did think initially when I came in, I was very fortunate when I was at Eton to spend some time at MIT and the universities along New England, going down to Keene, New Hampshire. And the common theme was a napkin notice board. And it wasn't used as a medium for criticism, it was used as a medium for suggestion. Because food is very subjective, as we know, that we like what we like. It's one of those, and we try sometimes when we're adventurous, but food is one of those things that we find comfort in, that we go back to. It evokes a memory, the smell evokes a memory, childhood, restaurant, wherever it may be, a country that we visited. So the napkin notice board, I did think, would be something that would start to give us some feedback, as opposed to being sort of formal email. If it was kind of, we're not on TripAdvisor or anything, thankfully.
Because in a way, here at Wolfson, you've got a pretty varied clientele. They come from lots of different places in the world, and there are some people for whom, really well-cooked rice is critical. Others for whom, a slice of meat is the heart of the culture. There's others for whom the progressive agenda means something very different. How do you try to balance all those different requirements?
Of having a sensible, when I look at the menu, I don't look at the day. I kind of stand back and look at the week. I look at the balance over lunch, look at the balance over supper. Is there a reoccurrence from supper to lunch? Are we leading into something that, if you were coming in, that was there yesterday, and you want to kind of take that away? And there's so much that we can cook, but it's how we practice to get it right. And
food is a way of creating your ideal in life. So we've got lots of vegetarians and vegans and people who want to do the right thing for the future of the planet. But food, as you were saying before, also evokes memories and things that are really deep and go back into our history or psyche or whatever. So is there a way of providing comfort and depth, as well as making people feel their conscience is sound?
Clear. I think with the procurement, with the purchasing that we're looking at, that we're using good supply lines that are coming in, even to a point of reducing the amount of deliveries that are made. So we're being conscientious about the amount of lorries that are coming into the community. And there's 360 ways of looking at everything that we're doing. And it's how do we manage refuse? How do we engage with the stakeholders? How are we being mindful about what we're doing? And if we are serving meat, that we do it compassionately, that we're looking perhaps beyond red tractor and we're looking at compassion in world farming. But we are an island, as we speak about. We are an island of, we've imported food for many years.
You were saying when we were chatting about this last week, how Britain was a great empire and therefore went out into the world, and then had plenty of arguments about it. It was bringing in lots of different kinds of food in from overseas, and that gave Britain great richness in the food it could use. But the whole question of local provision, air miles becomes really quite urgent now, isn't it?
It does become urgent. I think about New Zealand lamb coming over when there's no grass kind of around and we're supplemented with food supplies. So sort of from a food point of view, or if we look at soy food coming into the UK, then we're looking at deforestation somewhere else. When I look at a piece of tofu, I don't look at it any different from a piece of chicken. That it needs to be well managed, it needs to be well sourced, it needs to have an ethical footprint that sits with it as well. That if we're looking at products that are coming in, spices, spice roots, tea, coffee, are they coming from farms that are part of an alliance, part of a cooperative? Is there a moral footprint that just sits with the air mile footprint that sits there? Because I think as much as we try to do as the community, and we're saying about using the food hall, it could be is becoming a very, very sustainable environment that could feed the community. It minimises deliveries into the community, it minimises food production, food waste. And I think it comes from choice. And then if we look at food production to food waste, that, for me, I think it becomes morally reprehensible that, whilst we talk about these things and then we look at what we're putting in the bin, or how we're managing our recycling, or how we're managing our food waste, or our vegetable peelings, whether we're trying to do something that is positive with that coming in, with the foods coming into our lives in general. Is it right? Is it a positive thing?
Tell me a bit about where we're sitting, because we are sitting between two beds with nothing in them at the moment.
Credit to Michael the gardener and Paolo being the instigator. And when Bishop's Garden was put on the table, it was one of those I almost stood up. I'd only been here a couple of weeks. It was like one of those little jump up and down on the inside with joy. My first tour of the Bishop's Garden was with you on day 3 of being here, and such a beautiful space. And you think with its monastic history that it would have been used for food production for the Bishop's house and his guests. So to have this turned over to the community is really quite spectacular.
And what are you planning to grow?
I think this is a student-led project.
Okay, right.
But I am there and am available to go through the many dishes of what may come in the future.
Where would you like to see your kitchen, your team, in a couple of years' time? What would you like them to be doing differently from what they're doing now?
I think it is the team, and it's an us and a we and an our kind of kitchen. I think if we have a shared approach and it goes to what are we doing, how are we doing it, how are we managing it, and to get to a point very quickly of what happens when I'm not there and when I don't need to do anything. I think that's where I'd love to have the kitchen in general, not to abdicate any responsibility, but that we have a collective consciousness about how we are preparing, that we're conscious of food waste, that we're conscious of recycling, that we're conscious of having food that it goes to the stakeholder in the community. It's the best that we can do, and then we review it, and in 4 weeks' time we try and make it better than that, and then we evolve. So we're always a part of the community and listening, taking on the feedback, and then trying to grow the offer that we're doing. I think that's what I'd love from the kitchen, is to have something that really does sit in line with the College with a Conscience, that we are responsible.
You've got a college of people who love their food and love to work with you. I think you're doing really, really well.
Thank you.
I'm very excited.
It's wonderful to be here when I kind of come across Wolfson and they were looking for a head chef to kind of come into the kitchens. It was genuinely one of those very, I'm going to give that a go, and I'm quite excited by that. And it was a real joy to come in on the 12th of April was when I started. And we just try and evolve on a weekly basis, and that is in conjunction with the team. And it's what can we achieve moving forward in the future.
I hope that's given you a flavour of the kind of things that Michael is bringing to what we're doing here at Wolfson. But also, it's an adventure. I mean, it's a fantastic adventure.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, and it's a journey that tastes wonderful. So, Michael, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.